So I'm going to do a few things this morning. I'm going to talk about, what happened, between the time when I got off of Twitter and then later on this morning. It's almost 10 on the 2nd of September 2021. Um, when I woke up this morning, I was told that, I could hear outside, by people driving by, that I needed to go down to the U.S. District Court today, and this was after I found the 7 cases in that schedule that. Let me check my email right quick, but that let me see. The 7 cases in the schedule under last name Brown, and a few were against U.S. Brown against the U.S. And when I saw that, that means that someone is taking somebody by the last name Brown to court. And I've written to them, and I've not heard from them. And I've gone downtown and all the things I have done to get the information I need. I'm not getting any results or any responses. And so, excuse for the and everything like that, but like basically, I'm not really feeling well today, and I don't know if it's due to arthritis or whatever that may be, but I'm hurting a lot, and I've been trying to get rid of this pain, and maybe it, I was told that it was something in my skin or in my back, like dung beetles, and I'm not sure as to why I'm going through that, and so just know that I'm not like 100% today. And then also, I've been having a lot of shoulder pain, and I'm not doing anything different with my back. And yeah, and so that means somebody's doing something to me. And then, also like with my the front of my body, I am like exploded out a lot. And I think James Radcliffe is causing, something with my windpipe to cause water to leak down the front of my abdomen, and water is settling either there and between like my legs, and probably in my hips around my back. So he's actually putting things where they don't belong, and I'm trying to move it. And then this has been happening since it's going on 2020. So since April 2020, I've been working out, and I lost weight. I've lost over 50 pounds by now. And he has not approved it for himself for whatever reason. I don't know. I really don't. And I guess, it's maybe, it's daily, just doing things to keep me moving, to keep me active, and I'm dealing with this, and I'm waiting on the state to determine, what they're going to do with that home care. And I haven't heard back from them since June. And they say it should take no more than 60 days. Um, I haven't heard back from them. I sent a copy to Josh Shapiro's office to get that approved. I also sent other things to Josh Shapiro's office to get remedied, and nothing is working. And so this morning, on top of hearing all that and all the pain, um, I was told that the government was shut down or had been shut down along the lines where by, if things are not working out, many of the agencies are not working. And, maybe that's just due to the COVID, and one way it is. And then on the other hand, it's been based upon the 30 years, 40, 50 years of fraud that I have been going through. And so everywhere I go, that's happening, to me. Um, and I'm hearing that, these agencies are shutting down the government. And it's probably a good idea. And with that being said, that means that not, business as usual is not business as usual. Um, you know, so maybe, if that is the case, and that is to be expected, when I go, say for instance, reach out to even let's just say that I reached out to WHPVI, which is Channel 6 locally, and the person who I hear a lot from there is Alicia Vittorelli. I used to hear from Kenneth Sowers and Cecily Tynan, as well as Philip Murphy, or I hope I got that name right, David Murphy, excuse me, the weatherman, often. Um, and I'm finding that what we knew about something that they thought was, oh, we were gods, or we could do this or we that, they actually use the International Space Station to cause things to happen. Um, and along those lines, when I called the station, I left a message with regards to another news station who kept or can determine if fraud happened when I was at the hospital and Rigglewood, I'm sorry, Wilmington, and they could have called back and let me know, no, it happened, or yes, it did. I didn't get a phone call. I think I also emailed them. No email response either. And it's just as well as, like, either it did or didn't happen, or they called and researched somebody and found out it happened or not. I can't find the business card for WPVI Channel 6. I called the CEO and told them what was going on, and that I think I called or talked to um, somebody before in the past and was trying to get help with what's going on with this federal agency and why this agency is not fulfilling its public duties. I need a press crew and or um, a press license to do, like, to have access to different types of interviews, or maybe not even that. Say for instance, and I mean, I can find something to do, like, say for instance, since I'm asking about errors and omissions from this court, just for an example, and the fact that there's errors and omissions across the board. These agencies are public agencies, and when it's errors and omissions in any business, there has to be a correction, or and along those lines, it's always been judicial. But for me, it's just not been judicial. My mom and dad have gone through the same thing, and as well as my mom, and so, like, this cannot be considered like, oh, just conspiracies to defraud the government. How does a family, and it would include my half sisters and brothers, have problems with the litigation process when they have been there's damages or some type of material defects or whatever the case may be that have been we've reached out to the appropriate judicial branch for a remedy, and none of that has happened for me, my mom, or my sisters, like two sisters, and my kids. Even with small things for me, like when I was 19, I need representation for just to get my insurance worked out for a new car that I only had for like 4 months. And so and see, the bad thing with people who cause bullshit for your life, it's repetitive. Like, I mean, sometimes you get your psyche gets messed up because of so many things. And I found myself having to adjust. Excuse me, I'm gonna have to walk away for a minute. You know, if I paused it, it probably wouldn't work out, and then I had to start over. Excuse me for that. But basically, um, what I was saying, those agencies shut down, and even for just figuring out the car situation with an attorney, he he actually even failed to tell me he wasn't going to represent me. And so let me mess around with this right quick. Ow. So, I can't even remember his name. I think I just got rid of, um, some of the information I had for years. But basically, that didn't work out. And so, it seemed, I'll try and do what I can do because, I mean, I'm managing my own life and I'm trying the best way I possibly can to do it. And so with the other part of what I was saying about the what's rumored and what was said about this morning, get down to U.S. District Court about those 7 cases in my name, or someone's name by the name of Brown. Someone said, "Oh, we stole 3 cases with the last name Brown this morning, and we went to the operations manager to get the money," is what I was told. And you need to get to the court so you can either stop it or find out what's going on. And then, that's been going on several hours. And about 15, 20 minutes ago, I heard from Alicia Vitarelli from WPVI, who's like one of the people that, knows James Cuneo. And there's a lot of things that, she keeps saying about him. I don't know if it's true. She's also saying she is a Gennardi. And she's also Pamela Tull's lesbian girlfriend. And so with that being said, they got a lot to say all the time about, this and that. And she won't call me on the show for, an interview, but she just said, like, in order for me to get the money that she stole, I need to get down to work at the station and, to get the money, I guess, or in exchange or whatever. And they find, loopholes, to get me in trouble or to keep me in some type of bondage situation, like I've been in most of my life. And so, I don't know how many people they've done this to or why it's like that for me, why everything can't be clear and dry or cut and dry to a certain extent. And, I think, not Pam and Meghan Markle, are 2 people involved in what was going on and what was said this morning. Also, I haven't heard from U.S. District Court, and, again, they haven't responded to an email. I got, I copied myself on an email, but I didn't get anything back. I copied the district attorney this morning and the antitrust complaint of the Department of Justice, the Antitrust Federal Fair Trade Commission, and the antitrust, I don't know, ATR stands for U.S. Department of Government or Department of Justice in .government. And so let me think what I want to do today. And so with that being said, that's just where I'm at. I'm also dealing with a neighbor or someone in the community who actually partnered with my neighbor some months ago, over 4 years now. And I'm going to have to email the Department of Justice about what it is that he told me, only out of fairness to keep him out of trouble, because, he told me that he uses satellite to move back and forth, and he was in my house doing it. And also, the proof that I have that happens is the fact that I was transported without driving my car at least 300 miles east and west of Washington, D.C. over 8 times on June 27th, 2020, between the hours of 12:15. When I headed back from Washington, it would have taken me 6 hours to get home. So 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got home. So that was 7 would have been 8 hours. I got home around 10:15. They moved me around for about 2 to 3 hours, I believe. And one of the other places they moved me, I was actually on the side of the road somewhere near it's near a field somewhere or some houses somewhere, and a road that I did not know or was familiar with. And so also, Stephen Brown is the detective at Clifton Heights that I've been talking to for the last several years. The first time I talked to him was with regards to drone coordinates. And the last time we talked, and which, we haven't been talking recently, the last time we talked was maybe April of last year when I had, he came over to the house to report something about CYS and their investigation about my daughter, who sent a picture to Joanne Baxter, who was or is CYS out of Eddystone. And so when she sent her the picture, she copied Stephen Brown, and Stephen Brown said he would do the investigation, and he got back with me, and he told me that, basically, James Cuneo never, talked to him about anything. He knows nothing about him, and that when, he investigated me, only thing he found was the fact that I sent emails everywhere, and that it was seeming that I was having an episode, and the police had in the past had been sending me to a hospital, and somebody's been influencing my children to do so. And so when I talk to Stephen Brown, he talks about the fact that he's a knight from the Knights from Columbus. And I don't know who they are, so I'm just going to double check who they are. And this I'm just burning down. So, like, if, say, for instance, it's a burn down chart, or having to go over what's been done or what hasn't been done, then basically that's just the way it is right now. I mean, I'm doing that without technology, of course, and there are burn down charts. But I'm just, getting to the business, because really what has been happening is I've been targeted all my life by people like him. And so with that being said, he told me that um, he knows Constance Clayton and Pamela Toll, and Pamela Toll knows somebody that Kenny Simmons was having sex with on in Norristown, on Norris Street. And Pamela Toll said that she used to live on Norris Street a while ago, maybe like over 40, 50 years ago. She also said that, hold on one second. Let me see what that's about. That shouldn't be much. Anyway, I don't know why that came up. That she was stalking me from that location. And so let me just get out of there. All right, so what is Knights of Columbus? I'm thinking it's a group out of Italy. The Knights of Columbus and our council have 5 main objectives: to support the church, to build fraternal bonds through social, religious, educational, and athletic activities, to provide comfort and assistance to the sick, disabled, and needy members and their families, to reach out to meet community needs through programs and charity services. And then, all right, so the Knights of Columbus is a global Catholic fraternal service order founded by Michael J. Gavini on March 29, 1882. Membership is limited to practicing Catholic men. If I can open this up. Well, that'd be decent if I could. Well, it's on Wikipedia. Let me just show you so you know where it's at, and because if one day it comes up missing, I just want you to know. I'm going to move that over and try. Keep moving. All right. And so membership is limited to practicing Catholic men. It's led by Patrick E. Kelly. The others are 14th Supreme Knight. Let me just get it clean up here. The organization was founded in 1882 as a mutual benefit society for working class and immigrant Catholics in the United States to grow to support refugee relief, Catholic education, local parishes and dioceses, and global Catholic social and political causes. The Knight promote the Catholic view of public policy in issues including opposition to same-sex marriages and abortion. Between 2008 and 2012, KFC gave at least $15 million to lobbies opposed to same-sex marriage. The organization also approved certain financial services to individual and institutional Catholic market. Its wholly owned insurance company, one of the largest in the world, underwrites more than 2 million insurance contracts, totaling more than 100 billion of life insurance in force. The order also owns the Knights of Columbus, Assess Advisors, a money market firm which invests in accordance with Catholic social teaching. I've never heard anything. So hold on, so it says World War I, the Knights established soldiers' welfare centers in the United States and abroad. After the war, the Knights participated in education, occupational training, and employment programs for veterans. The Oregon Compulsory Education Act of 1922 would have disallowed the parochial schools, including Catholic schools in that state. The Knights of Columbus challenged the law in court, and in a landmark 1925 ruling, the U.S. Supreme Court struck it down. And I did see Clue, and so in 20, the combat and Amos targeted at racial and religious minorities. The organization published a series of 3 books: Knights of Columbus Racial Contribution Series, The Gift of Black Folk by W.E.B. Du Bois, The Views in the Making of America by George Cohen, and The Germans and Making of America by Frederick Schrader. During the nadir of American race relations, the KKK promoted a conspiracy theory which claimed that the fourth-degree Knights sworn on oath to exterminate Freemasons and Protestants. The Knights began suing distributions for libel in the effort to stop this, and the KKK ended its publication of the false oath. And so that's the only thing I've seen as far as racist. I don't see anything else. There is a local lodge here. I don't know how I even brought that up. I think maybe he said he was. I'm not really sure if that even makes sense. I've never known anything that he is one of them. But it seems that it's an archdiocese community service program. I like it. I mean, if that's what it's being used for. I know a lot of people have taken things out of context around here about what the history is, and many people don't even think about what history means to many of the organizations that are around and how they've been so instrumental back in the day. And this one also was a a soldier organization or organization for soldiers, after the wars. And so I'm just pulling down citations here so you can see that there's a lot of history. There's an international alliance, the Catholic Knights. This one, let me see did I see, I'm not sure which country. Let me see. It was found in New Haven, Connecticut. There's, it's a global fraternal service. I don't know. So I have to, maybe I just look here. So I'm thinking it's either France. I'm not really sure. I wouldn't know. Almost the same on Wikipedia. And it's saying this is global. So, I don't, it's just a matter of me thinking that it's just more French, or maybe something came out of French or France. Excuse me. I have to fix my back. I don't know what to do. I'm just really, there's so many things going on with it right now, and just keep me in your thoughts. But and so anyway, this is something that I'm dealing with him. With regards to the fact that I do believe, based upon what happened to me when I was in Washington, that somebody has the ability to, in this area, to use that technology and abuse it. And I don't want it to be him, and I don't want to have anything to do in regards to what is going on with this person, because he told me he has stolen from me since I've been in this house. Um, but I've not confronted that issue yet. And it may have been a lie, and I try to do as much as I can to work along with the police to deal with what they deal with, or show that I at least support them. And here's why. When I talked to him last night, I told him, like, don't you remember that teachers, are the first defense in this area? And when we endeavor to get involved with fraud with people outside of the community, no matter what they look like. I mean, I could have been very well doing this with somebody from, like, who a foreign country, African for that matter, embezzling money, or prostituting children, or raping them, or doing this as a business in this community, which some of the white men feel like that's cool, but actually it's not. And and the reason why we started talking is really what I should have announced was the fact, and I'm going to keep this one short. The fact was, I was talking to James Radcliffe. He kept saying, well, we're going to work on the fact that you need to be put out of your home because Jennifer Ciampi wanted you to be put out, and that she attacked you, and she caused, your muscles to fall off your bones, and whatever she was using on me. I think it was like gadolinium or something like that. At some point, it was that he was saying. And so she, orchestrated this whole abuse with NASA at first, to cause me to have bodily pain, or suffer or experience pain. She had been doing it to me since I shoveled snow, and I think that was in 2017, 2016, when I called Ray Caputo and told him about it. And I told him, I said, I'm a good person. I don't know why I'm hearing from her, because, like, I woke up with a huge headache, like due to snow. But it's weird. Why would I have a headache? I never had headaches due to snow, and I was almost to the point where I couldn't get out of bed. And when I got out of bed, she confronted me in the back alley, and her child called me a bitch, who was 18 years old. And I don't argue with young people. I don't, and it's not her place to have anything to say to me. And so I reported that, and then after that, she called the hospital when I was there and said some bad things about me to have them commit me in the hospital. And then after they did that, I was attacked, and she was saying something about $4 million for my hemoglobin, which would have been not transmit, but a donation. They used to call it, I'd say, not transmit, we'll say a blood transfusion for the queen, who was looking for, a perfect match. And it seemed that I was the perfect match. But what she was doing was, she was actually impersonating me, and was going to sell that to the queen, and then asked that the hospital gathered those things for her. So after talking to Radcliffe yesterday, I heard from Stephen Brown, who's a detective in Clifton. And I guess Stephen Radcliffe right away asked, why is it that it seems that she needs to be put out of her house, is what he asked. And he was like, right away, that's wrong, and we shouldn't do that. And, I was going along with her because it was something that was going on in your area. And I don't remember everything he said, but, it really wasn't that deep, and it wasn't nothing to talk about. And I think he was basically trying to talk to, or have Jennifer speak about what it is that she was trying to do. He also said that she's an Abercrombie, and I have Abercrombies in my family on Martha Swinson's side. I get her name wrong every once in a while. Actually, Swinson Swanson, and she married a Shipman. And so, also Abercrombie, Swinson Swanson, and another maiden name, I think it's Dutton. I'm not really sure. And then she married a Shipman. So anyway, um, I am an Abercrombie, by family structure, based upon the fact that even my grandmother, her biological was not Shipman, according to what's going on. And so there's a lot of fraternity, situations and discrepancies that's going on. But, a lot of ways, most of these people I don't correspond with them. And, I don't know if I'm someone that they would leave anything, for, and the untimely event that they would have to leave me something. But anyway, and so, he said that, and he started singing. It was cool, and everything works out. But I'm gonna have to go on record saying that I found out, and it's something maybe after hours, and I woke up, and it's kind of weird. Let me think. We started talking about the fact that Harry was in my house, and the way the house smelled was highly alkalinic and fishy. And so we started talking about the fact that, what food smells like that. And, days before, we talked about the fact that men like Dan McGarry and other school teachers like raping children, and they think it's kind of cool, but these kids smell like cottage cheese or Gouda. And Gouda's more, is stronger, but cottage is more like here's why, because like there's cereal in the children's system, and Stephen said it takes 5 years for that to get out of the system. And so people have been looking into the fact why men are attracted to that smell, and they think it's like it's more than smell. It's like because these children have not been touched either, and their sanctity, or the sanctity of children, and the purity of them should be protected. And I'll just look them up. It's probably more innocence. And the Bible. So I'm just reading what I'm typing. But anyway, basically, that was something that was talked about and discussed. And so it's 20 verses about innocence. Mark 10:14, Matthew 19:14, Philippians 4:8, Romans 5:1-21, Psalms 19:13, Psalms 26:1-12, and Colossians 2-8. And so I'm going to read here. How is the innocence of a child granted in the Bible? The language of the Bible teaches that a child's innocence is granted by God due to a lack of knowledge. Innocence automatically and spiritually keeps a child connected with God until guilt comes. Innocence is lost when guilt is acknowledged through enlightenment to God. Innocence is lost. I don't understand that. Is lost when guilt is acknowledged through enlightenment to God. But, I would say when you acknowledge your own guilt, but I don't know what the enlightenment part is. Like, that would have to be, if that's in that context, it would be something like the fact that when Adam and Eve were tempted, or they tempted themselves, or somehow, if that was just a parable and it was just based on fruit, or taking knowledge that would be forbidden from the tree of life, or the Garden of Eden, and partaking without God's authority would be some form of enlightenment. But maybe all knowledge is not good knowledge, so maybe that's what that means. So in what you learn basically could be considered in a form of enlightenment, and you could call it good or bad. And we hope that it will be good, and the relationship will always be to God. And so anyway, there are 30 verses here. Going down here, there are 45. 1 John 3:2. Let me see if this says, helpful, not helpful, beloved. We are God's children, and now what we will be has not yet appeared, but We know that when he appears, we shall look like him, because we shall see him as he is. And so there's 45 here. Innocent children. Likewise, wives, be subject to your own husbands. Um, do not. Oh, do okay. So even if some do not obey the word, they may be won without a word by the conduct of their wives, and when they see your respectful and pure conduct. Do not let your abandoning be external, the braiding of hair and the putting on of gold jewelry or clothing you wear, but let your adorning be the hidden persons of the heart, with the imperishable beauty of gentle and quiet spirit, which in God's sight is very precious. For this is how the holy women who hoped in God to adorn themselves, but by submitting to their own husbands. Um, and so anyway, I'm going to, like, this is another just a go-to. I'm going to leave that there. And we're going to talk about that maybe later. And so we talked about that. And how am I bringing up innocence? Oh yeah. That smell. And so, or just we'll say the whole thing about not being touched as someone sexually. People think that, a girl who has not been touched by anyone, and that's something that someone takes from her. And this whole thing about it being sweet and taken is not, that doesn't go together. So what happened in this community was, kids were being hurt, and he heard the conversation I had. And so what he said was that the school district is not good enough to, it's open, and they make it seem as though it's closed, and there's no school buses, or there haven't been school buses in the last 3 days. And so, on one hand, I heard him say that, since I think that they're not running, that they will fool me and make me think that they're not, and then we'll get that truancy thing going, which, that will or will not be a factor. I just called this morning and talked to Joseph Murphy about my daughter, who's a counselor, and what her situation is, and how we've been going on. And so that is just going along the lines with school. But anyway, let me get back to the original thing. So that came up, and this is, it sounded like he was going to bat. Yeah, he did actually say something about the Illuminati class that was going to be taught in the school district, and how that was not fielded or approved by the parent-teacher committee, or even it wasn't introduced as a parent to the parent-teacher committee. And not to the school board. It wasn't. And then there are other, I'm sorry, but I'm all over the place. There are other courses that were not presented in front of the school board that, has not been approved. And I think also the fact that maybe with COVID, there's just so many things that's being held withheld or not being made public to the, or offered to the public for review or approval. And so if this course, on its ear or on its face would be considered Illuminati or whatever they call it, because I was told it was just for 5 people, and it's probably a freaking lie. 5 people, and those 5 people were my daughter, her friend James or Jimmy, maybe Angela's one of them. That's 3. Probably, people that my daughter knows. So she's up in arms as to the fact that I won't let her go to school, and she, wants to go and all that. And this is something that Salerno said that he had created, and that, I don't know, he took it off of her schedule, is what I was told by Dan McGarry. And, I left it at that. And really, I've been all over dealing with other issues with regards to heredity, court, divorce. I need to get out this morning and go talk to my secretary, who's probably going to tell me he's not available and all this. But anyway, so I've been dealing with that, and other things. And so let's see what else I want to say. So then Stephen and I talked about the fact that, that class will be taken off the roster and all this. And then we also talk about the fact that Richard Ellis is causing problems in the community. And, we are all upset about it, and the teachers and parents are upset about it. And, what has happened as a result of him being around is the fact that there's been, advisories out about sexual misconduct and sexual harassment, sexual abuse in the school district. And when you go to the let me bring this up. PA Department of Education. When you go to the Department of Education, and I mean, this is not the Department of Education. Like when I look on their website and I was looking for policy or whatever, I just want to show you what's on there. I mean, a lot of it, had a lot to do with, I looked up child endangerment. So I'll say policy and funding, basic circulars, code and regulation. Maybe that's it. All right, so that's just code and regulation. Let me then go to policy and funding. So then I went to, I guess, basic education circulars or something. I went through this. Just one more. That's the same, this is policy again. And so I guess when I looked up, I mean, it's around somewhere. It's just, all right, I'll just go misconduct. I wasn't on this page. Anyway, I'll just read this. And a lot of it had a lot of issues with regards to what was going on in the state and, what programs there were. So maybe, let me try one more search here. Federal programs. This is going to blow you out of the water. So where I go from there would have been, I don't think I went here, but it looks like more of what it should be right now. But, honestly, let me see if I can go through, let me just do a search right quick. All these look right, but yesterday it was something totally different. So I did a search for child endangerment or child safety. And it just blocked. See, and didn't even go through. And so let me do another search. Misconduct. I don't know. It shouldn't be. Like maybe it's a blocker here. Let me look at history. And let me see education. Maybe it'll come up from yesterday. So I got the whole search up that, came up yesterday. And so this is under mandatory. Okay, hold on, get out of here. Educator misconduct, school entity mandatory report procedures and forms. Um, Educator discipline, it comes up. There's a lot. So I went, I looked under the sexual and romantic invitations. And, honestly, when I read this under misconduct, whoever has ideations about romantic invitations in that environment, I don't know, maybe the wording on this, I would just, basically I'm saying the wording could change a little bit, because I wouldn't agree that it would be, something to that of it would be an internal analysis of that. When you put words like this out, it almost says that we know something like this is going on, and it has gone on for a while, and we really don't know how to take care of it. Again, romantic dialogue, suggestive comments, again, romantic and erotic nature, and indecent romantic and erotic conduct with children and students. So when I see things like that, it says that there hasn't been a problem, it hasn't been eradicated, but words like that show that they're dealing with something that they probably should have someone mentally evaluate it and keep that internal. There's a lot of things that should be kept internal, and some people probably would read that and say it's okay, to have that type of relationship or in my head with a student, which is not right. And so anyway, going forward with the whole conversation, I should have gotten with everything, but I had not been feeling well. And so he said something about that. Also the fact that he's friends with James Cuneo, and he's doing things with James Cuneo that makes him feel like he's free, of any moral obligation. But then on the other hand, he also knows that his coercion, or he allowing himself to be coerced, is not letting him or helping the community or helping him to enforce what's going on in Clifton Heights. The school district is in Drexel Hill or Upper Darby, and Clifton Heights is, one of the attending, communities, just like Alden, Seacane, Glen Olden, and it's the only high school. Let me see, the only high school in Upper Darby. Okay, so the only high school in Upper Darby. And so there's no other alternative, which I don't like. That's really one bad thing, and there's a lot of people here. But anyway, so that's what he said. Like, James Cuneo is the reason why he does not enforce the law. He also says that, it makes him feel like, tough and rugged and like a man, and not doing what, and going along with Cuneo, I guess, in his private business, whatever that is. But basically, it's not helping people do what's right either. And so it has become some bit of an issue. Also, Mr. Brown has known of what's been going on in my life and what was going on Norris Street with Kenny Simmons and Pamela Tall, and the fact that Kenny was told, and I don't know how true this is because it doesn't sound right, that to drive us to Florida, and someone would be there to hurt me, and that person who would have been there to hurt me would have been Stephen Brown, according to him, that he was sent to Biscayne Avenue, and I didn't want to leave, and I thought to myself, like, there must be a way to get my dad's attention to stop, us from going back home, because I really didn't want to go. And I can't exactly remember what he said, but he thought to himself, because he could hear me based upon the hardware that's in my ears, and said that, he heard what I thought, and he thought about what happened to Shirley Chisholm on that same street. I don't know how true that is either. But basically, he was sent there to harm me. And then earlier in that time, or during that trip, he said that he even recalled the fact that, based upon what I was thinking about, how the smell in this house smelled, because conch has a strong smell, if I can remember correctly. And I haven't had conch I've had it maybe like 2008, but not regularly as I want, because I think it's a good sea creature to eat. It's almost like a mollusk, but it's meaty. And I had it in Delaware. So we talked about the fact that I was told to eat a portion of it, and I reflected on the fact that it didn't have gills, and it was a an animal or a species that cleanses its own water in its body, and like it probably contained poison. And I think there's somewhere in, like, if you don't cook it right, it can make you sick. And so I was told, he told me that Lena and had shared a dream with Kenneth Simmons, who was telling her that he was trying to hurt me. And then he said that when they told me to, eat the conch, I had to go back, and I think I did say to myself, like, it's not something I'm going to dig into, and I might have just a little bit of it, and I'll take a little piece off the edge. He gave a good example on what I thought and how I thought, about the purification of the conch, how it was eaten, and then, or how I would eat it and approach it based upon the fact that there's a internal portion that does make you sick when you don't cook it right. That's something that he hit on. He talked about the fact that when I was at my sisters and brothers' grandma's house, Rosalie Simmons, about the fact that I didn't like Kenny based upon what he was doing between his parents. He was the youngest child, and he was a brat. And his father, I think, moved to Georgetown or some portion of Georgetown, or maybe Charlestown or somewhere. I can't remember. And so my stepdad lived with his biological father for 2 years before he joined the Army. And my biological father is bisexual. And based upon the fact of his habits, I didn't like the fact that he wasn't raised well, to the point where his mom and dad lived in 2 different houses. And he left for the Army, but before he left for the Army, he didn't spend a lot of time with his mom. And then when we spent a lot of time with his mom, they were like back and forth bickering. And so I believe Kenny did not know his place in the relationship as a child. And I think he played both of them off of each other to cause problems in their marriage. And they eventually, when he moved out, then they divorced, like, I think 4 years later. And so this is 55 minutes. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, but anyway, he told me, I did not, it was something about that house I didn't trust. He mentioned something about the fact that I learned when I was at the home that an organized home is one that's more clean. Like my grandma, Christine Baker, her house was always clean. He said that I looked at her tabletops and knew that, that was the sign of clutter, which everything had something on it. And for the most part, I guess you can't help it, right? I mean, everything that has a top to it, you can put something on it very easily. And he said to me last night, the same thing I thought, like when I saw that there was clutter on her tabletops, that I would, actually monitor what I did. He explained exactly what I thought about it when I thought about what I thought. And so, he said I might want to get with my tabletops, which is probably true. I have a lot of supplements, a lot of lotions and things that I bought since last year to help me feel better, or to at least keep them from attacking me with demons or EMF or Kabbalah. Who knows? It's trash. I just call it free radicals and junk, and a lot of things. So let me see where we're headed. I'm also finding out that he knows about ankylosing spondylitis. Unclear as to what that means as far as the internal organs and why they're gone. I'm hearing that that's something that's being referred to as something that causes the vanishing situation. And when you read the write-up on ankylosing spondylitis, there is an effect of something vanishing, like vessels and lymphatic vessels showing up and disappearing, as well as issues with the eyes, things appearing and disappearing in the eyes, to include the bones, soft tissue like ligaments and tendons. And so, it's more than a couple things that are actually disappearing with this disorder. And so when I heard it last night and he brought it up, I think he was kind of upset. I don't know exactly how personally upset he was, but he was talking about the fact that, and I talk about these people's issues to let the world know that, yeah, we're going through something. No one's been arrested. But, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is we're right now in a state of repair. If he's been on the force for a number of years and can take a retirement, that's something, that if he doesn't want to work there, that's fine. But, if he feels like this will help him going forward and doesn't want to retire, I'm not going to allow whatever bullcrap there is in this town to continue. And it's under my nose on my six or on my watch, and people are on my six. I don't want that. And there's a reason why that is the case, and people are lying. So he brought up the ankylosing spondylitis. Again, we're talking about it as an issue maybe with regards to Afghans and the fact that they're saying that they have, or some of them have, this disappearing disorder and inside of the body. Maybe perhaps I have those blunt screws in me that were put in my daughter's leg, or blunt screws that were put in my jaw just about 2 weeks ago. And so maybe it's not that. Maybe it's the fact that people, this is hypothetical because I have to ask James Radcliffe. Like, if those things can make you appear and disappear, then maybe they can actually, if you take them out of the body, they cause whatever it's not, the disappearing, whatever disappeared, reappear. I think also when I had a dream, I saw a brain, an esophagus, the internal part of a body without organs. I saw a uvula at the back of the throat, which they make out of EMF, and they actually put some type of microphone on the back of that, or some type of microphone technology. I don't know if that turned into a screw or something like a worm. I've had dangling worms in me before, and so maybe these worms do the same thing. I don't know, but I'm asking right now that they come out. And so at times when I have a drink, and Mr. Brown did talk about this before, that when the water leaks to the front of the body and my body starts to swell, that's because the water is going in places that it shouldn't go, and it's also going in my quads and my hamstrings. That's causing the body to swell up. It has water, and that's not called hypothermism or hypoparathyroidism, or even hyperthyroidism. None of that applies, but it could be taken out of context as to why the body does retain water. And along that, when I was moving around, the general from CENTCOM could hear through my ears what was going on in my body as to what was like jiggling, and that jiggling should not have happened because I'm pretty solid. And I should not jiggle, or there should not be like a whooshing sound when you jiggle, because nothing jiggles and moves. My muscles should not be moving, is the whole point. And they removed something from me yesterday, or a couple of days ago, with regards to what was going on. I was very happy and elated to it, and I just said hallelujah to myself. So anyway, that was a conversation about ankylosing spondylitis, or ankylosing spondylitis. Also saw a billboard on Jersey's Turnpike with information about swollen thighs. There's therapy for it, so that means other people are going through it. And so let me just keep going. So that's my hypothesis about the screws. If something appears, reappear, and my car was done that, and they said they put thousands of screws on the car, or whatever the case may be, or that's something they use to cause people to phase in and phase out, to move from place to place with a laser, as well as that laser can be used by itself, is from what they're saying, can be used to move cars. I don't know. So anyway, I'd have to, I think somebody showed me in a dream that when those screws are around, I think you don't pick up magnetization or a magnet and a magnet. There's something that calls the plates not to be or something causes the plates to demagnetize. And I think those screws are one thing that Mr. Tanner kind of left out in our class. But when you try, and I tried it, when you take magnets and turn them backwards, like the ones from speakers, they don't stick together. But there's something about those screws and the fact that you can pick them up and you can sense them with something that has a magnet, or you can't. I can't remember exactly. So let me keep going so I can get over this, and get to the end of it. We talked about that. We talked about ankylospondylitis. We talked about that. We talked about the more implications of continuing not to do anything. And then, now I'm going through a lot of it because there's a lot of stuff I just, I probably miss or can't remember. I think the force was being bribed. Let me think what else he brought up. He told me that he's the one who causes me to be fat, is what he said. I think he does it for Bill Rostick. And he is saying that I'm hearing that he's the reason why I'm going through a lot of this, really. And then the other thing that he said was in 1997, he was sent to the Biscayne Avenue with regards to my geometry homework and the fact that I could not understand points and relationship to lines and perpendicular and all those theory without looking or finding a visual and relating it to stars. And so Richard Ellis says, and this part, could be clarified, but if he was sent there and he knows he was sent there, then it's not like a hypothesis or anything. So basically, he's saying he was sent there because of my homework, and that Richard Ellis was pissed off because somebody told him that he was dumb for not thinking about, I guess, geometry when it came to constellations, which could be not true. And the other thing was that the real reason is that they were on the move of taking what they eavesdropped from the class because they left the speakers on. And I don't even know if that's relevant, but basically, maybe not, because what I found last night is on my body allows him to hear and has heard from me for a very long time. It must be that voltage from when I got shocked in my leg, because, people have been telling me that they've been hearing, even before that though, but anyway, so getting back to trying to hypothesize on what I can't recall, they're calling this some occult situation when it's just more of just using something to manipulate the body, and that device is called, or that the manipulation of a device and to manipulate the thoughts of others is wiretapping. So any device. I think I hit on all the key points about what was going on with that. And, he did talk about the fact, something like that when the cop said something about me being a poor, the poor lady, it's a shame that she has to go through this. I do believe, and I really wasn't ready to deal with Clifton Heights just as yet, only because the U.S. District Attorney's Office, kind of gave them at links, like leave me alone situation, or they're, still doing things behind the scenes, and possibly, those things that are being done behind the scenes are things that they don't want to be discussed. So I'm going to wrap this up. This is like, this Vincent Aaliyah? I don't know if that Vincent is somebody I know, because the Vincent I was trying to figure out who I knew as someone that basically was sitting in on a meeting with me and David Katz. Let me see something. he was sitting in on a meeting with me and David Katz, and he's David Katz, fellow alum, I guess if you say it that way, from St. Joe's. It may not be any relevance. Let me see. I don't even know if I have it. Let me see. I have to dig. Well, I had to look into that. It may be. But I was trying to figure out this guy's name, his last name, because I really don't know. Generi? I don't know. I'm hearing Jarriei or something like that. I'm not sure, but anyway, I'm going to end this and just basically say that I was just doing a rapid thought. Yeah, I don't know, just letting all this out right now, and venting what I can possibly vent about the things that I'm hearing, and I'm hoping that Sergeant or Stephen Brown doesn't have a reason to come in his house. I did let Twitter. I put it on Twitter last night that Pamela Toll, she keeps abusing her ability to talk about things when it pertains to me. I did read my tweets on Twitter about what was going on. I also found that Meghan Markle is trying to reach out to France and Italy and to impersonate me with regards to lineage to my family because she is jealous. And that's been painfully obvious since, let's see what's been going on, since the fact that the only person that is in her corner is Joe Biden. And the other person, like she manipulates him because of past manipulation. But he's the only reason why Thomas Markle is important to somebody else. And the reason why she gets over on people is because of his relationship with Biden. As per what I'm hearing, they're saying that they served in the military together, but Mr. Biden, did not go in for, I don't know, arthritis or maybe some eye issue or something like that. But anyway, I, had to come out about what I hear, and it's for it's for everybody else to deal with. The fact that they're having issues with Richard Ellis, his involvement and his abuse of authority is really the other issue. And this man has, yeah, I think he's strange. And then also I'm hearing that there's, other abuses going on about, what people think is okay to consume and what not to consume, to be able to see into the future and all that. And really, it's probably like the wrong thing to do. Let me think if I covered things. I also suggested, I think I may have already talked about the fact that if Richard Ellis can't leave me alone, he has to involve, Meghan Markle, and where else? Let me see if I can see. I just want to make sure I got the right person. I don't think I copied her husband. But anyway, I just know that, if Richard Ellis is going through a lot and we're going through this with him, we have to find a way to get this man help. And this is not the way to do it. And he's using all of us, and eventually, it's hurting more people than it's helping. And all this that is being done is not helping anybody. And, and so basically, I just want to conclude based upon the fact that, we're dealing with someone that they allow or force us, or force, let me try this. They, meaning, these government agencies and these people who fail to do something. The reason, that we're doing this or dealing or having or forced to be dealing with this is because they do not address what needs to be addressed. And so I'm just going to end that one there. I didn't really have anything, personal to add other than the fact of what I've been hearing about, people trying to steal money from the U.S. District Court or the James Barnes Court from a person in the last name Brown. I do have a stolen ID. I need to get with PennDOT to get a replacement. And I did do, so I'm pretty sure I'll be receiving something in the mail shortly. About, getting a new ID, and this new ID should be able to, give me a passport that I could use to get in and out of the country if I wanted to. And so that's the good thing about Real ID. And so let me check who's on the computer with me, which let me know. It's not like I'm Bob Wash or Jim Wash or whoever that Wash man was on America's Most Wanted. When you share a live show, that's not really what's going on. I mean, personally, it could be. But I'm not getting paid to do it. And I did not want to do this for free because everybody's been stealing things from me. And I've been just hanging on by a thread to just get my needs basically not met. And then, so these are some of the addresses here. And so, how I make it is only, by the grace of God is really the other thing. And, I should not be sharing my computer with people right now. And when I check the SVC host exec, they go away. So it's a network. The network is allowing them to do it. So say, for instance, I took a screenshot of this and sent this or sent it to Verizon and asked them for, damages, because they allowed this to happen, and they would just do it on, the dollar amount for the damage would have to be over $3,000, or they could pay me $3,000 a month for whatever the case may be. But I wouldn't be able to finagle that. I mean, and they're saying, oh, you have to have sex with somebody to do that. But let me tell you something. This is not normal. Let me share the screen. I was trying to share the screen, but anyway, it should come up, but it didn't. Oh, there it is. And so this should not be happening right here. These are remotes. These are remote addresses. And even the IP4 loop back, that's something strange. All these. I can't, I didn't count them. If there's like a way to print, let me see if I can print. I can click stop monitoring. Let me see. I don't know what that does. Oh, that's this right here. And so when I start again, then it just refreshes, but it still comes up with some of them, a lot of them that were there. So anyway, I can go back. I'll have to read in there and go into about, but basically that's what's going on. I should not be dealing with this. Or having, problems with somebody on my computer. So if I said, look, here's a purchase order for damages, or you can do, give me money for damages for what you allow the federal government to do, then that would be great. Oh, I forgot about that. This is a reminder of what, and the reason why I think, when he was listening to me, he understood something about me, and that understanding was when I went through the community and I was trying to find people who the DLA would possibly talk to, or let me know if the government was in this area talking to and getting information illegally about people, especially me or someone in the government, to access my personal information or identity information. Because here's why. I was told by, or in my class, where we were told that the government will be sending people into our neighborhoods to conduct interviews about, our about, who we were publicly. And when I had to do a write-up against men who were doing something to me, Bill Roberts told me we were watching Joe Gallagher. And I think he also meant David Chatham too. And so when he said he was mentioning or he mentioned Joseph Gallagher, I knew instinctively he was watching him for like SEC issues, because Joe Gallagher used to work for the bank. But he probably did not mean me. But the only reason why I did that is because Jane told me that people would ask, how I got along with my neighbors, or would want to know how I got along with my neighbors. And don't pray too long in the daytime. Don't think of Jesus all the time. And don't and watch what you watch on TV is what she told me. And she didn't tell me why she did that. But when I recall what Robert said about Joe Gallagher, just, we're watching him, that I should have remembered that, and I did not. And so maybe, hypothetically, he's one of the persons that they were watching in the community about, what type of lifestyle he has, which is probably why I started looking around. And it wasn't because of Joe, because of what they were saying. So I was actually thinking that, that possibly they were more watching someone else than me. But Jane played on that. So when she did, I looked in the neighborhood to find out who they could have contacted so I could be friends or let them know who I was, talk to them, have a town hall meeting, because I was told by Laura Blackburn that I would need to discuss the issues about safety or any issues, because I was telling her what was going on in the neighborhood and what I was, going through with my neighbor and how I felt unsafe with her. And, so I basically wanted to talk to other neighbors to get a feel for what we all go through. And then this also happened after Verizon put my wireless key code on my box. And then my computer, I guess, I believe, started acting crazy, or some documents came up missing. I was putting in passwords, Randy3, in my finance class or something like that. And when I put in the password, it would not recognize it. And I would do it like a couple more times, it wouldn't recognize it. And then I'd get in, or it would like play me to the point where it seemed like I was putting in passwords and it wasn't being recognized by Microsoft Word, so I could get access to my document. And then sometimes I would get read-only, like used by someone locally. Someone's on your computer using your computer at your location. Do you still want to shut down? And I would always, shut down. And then when I would get read-only, that meant, and that happened probably over 20 times, read-only before I would submit it to my school, that meant someone was actually using my document, which I probably should have been taking screenshots of everything. And so I did not take out the cache on that computer on purpose to ensure that if anything happened or any investigation happened, that I would be able, if someone asked me anything, I would be able to prove what has been going on with me. And so that is the reason why I got involved with looking around the neighborhood. And he said each of the people that I asked were the right people to have asked to be involved in maybe a round robin or a situation where we're watching, I'm watching the neighborhood and then they're watching what happens with me. Because here's the other thing. When I was prayed to myself, not out loud, that I'm glad my children are safe. My son is going to school and he should not be bothered, but that was also hindered, as well as the fact that when I prayed for my daughter, I was like, I prayed. I didn't say out loud, she's good. She's in a safe neighborhood. She's a big girl. She'd be able to walk from the bus stop, and this is 14 years old, walk from the bus stop with relatively no harm. And Cassandra and this little boy named Nathan Hanna were kind of like on the block jeering at her. And she was telling, and she told my sister, I'm not my sister, I'm sorry. Cassandra was saying to Alana after Hannah said something to my daughter, and Alana said, I'm not afraid, and I'm not afraid of you, David, or whatever his name, Nathan. And she said, you need to be very afraid, is what she said. So I contacted the police right away because it sounded like a hate crime to me, because it was ambiguous, and that ambiguity could be followed through the fact that there's parents on the other side of what's going on with that child. And that parent knows what's going on with that child to the point where what child has the right or the notion to say something to scare another child unless that child is in the parent's business or actually is involved in gang-related activity, to the point where he knows how to intimidate somebody or use words to intimidate someone. And because my daughter is an Italian of color, I didn't take that lightly, because it happened to my son, where somebody did something and hit him in the head and knocked him out with a belt buckle. And I'm, my baby got knocked out and he got hit on his temple, and so I'm like, why? I'm not going to let this go with my kids. I'm not. And so when that happened with them, I had to stand up and find, what was going on with my kids and in the areas where they go. And then in the neighborhood where I live, I just had it. This was 2000, I'll say 14, but it's really wrong. Maybe 2016, where it's all hands off now. I mean, all gloves off, all hands on. Like, if we got to find out what's going on, we got to really be sharp about it, because I got somebody who is doing things around me and my kids that make me, questioning what's going on with them. And that means that we're not safe. I need to find out what's going on and have it investigated, because this county is not that shabby at investigating. They do this. They do hack people. And they pull porn. They used to pull porn a lot, as far as child porn in this county. And every other week there was something in the Delaware County Times about somebody, some teacher, we'll say some teacher violating, public safety laws and having porn on their computer. But then also the FBI does get involved in that and see that porn is related to some other activity, that they often watch people in, I guess, in these towns where we are, to determine, other types of crimes. So that's one of them that was easily bust. I thought I was in a good community again. And then the other community where I'm coming from, like, I don't even know, a week later, a meth lab was busted on 5th and Main Street. And I was like, man, maybe I should just freaking leave this place, because I ain't got time for people with meth. I really don't. And so, that's like pretty much where I'm headed. Let me just put that up there and leave it alone. That's pretty much where I'm headed with the end of this conversation. Let me see if I can touch on some things right now after I bring them up. I did bring up the fact that I did have to call the police twice on the block, and maybe 3 times, before, I had issues with the police. And so the reason why I did call them is because I thought Jane Addams Martin was going to be too nosy, and she had been lying on me before I left that agency. And I thought to the point where she would start lying about people and what they knew about me. And so after they hacked me, and after what I know now, I'm determining that they were actually going to set me up again, because here's what Pamela Toll was telling me. She told me that that Harry Windsor told me also that he worked in legal, he was working in contracts for legal. And what they did was they started putting lines of funding in my contract folders. And then from there, they started stealing money from those lines of funding or lines of accounting. And I also was told that Pamela Tall that this same person, Harry Windsor, now worked in legal, and that he's a lawyer, and what he intends on doing is actually uh, going through the same steps that Jane Addams Martin did to contact an operations person or operations manager to steal money from a litigation case or litigation with regards to me. But on the other hand, on that side of what they were doing, they were going to file this case against me as litigation to make it look like I was eavesdropping or stealing from them. And this theft looks like everything I thought of, bringing up my magic list. Everything I thought of on my list, because every time I do, I'm just going, every time I talk about it, I'm going to bring it up. And so anyway, there it is. Everything that's there that they're saying that I stole from them. And then they're also saying that, the military things I stole from them. So that would be these right here. And then this one. And that pneumatic pump, they're saying that I stole that. This pneumatic pump is actually an ideal I came up with. I hate the pump, the little pump gauge that you check the tires with. And it also doesn't regulate. And also, it's just a matter of just tweaking. And I'm still thinking about how to fix stuff. Anyway, Amazon is something they're probably thinking that I stole. And so what they're trying to say is, like, I'm out there on a tangent. There's financial things here that I came up with, the IIE bond or ad valorem for bonds, which was, like I keep saying, was in the news. And here's some mutual funds. I did come up with CDs or certificate of deposit. I think I'm really close with that. The indices and all that. I'm just going to put CDs and then IIE bonds or ad valorem. If I can spell that right. And so basically, when they said that, I was like, I wanted to throw something at the TV. I said, I know why people throw hammers at TVs now, because there's reasons why people just lose it when they throw hammers at TV. But, they were trying to say, I stole this, I stole that, I stole military secrets about DAPAM 710-2-1 with regards to uniform management of inventory, something like that, planning or preparation and planning, and FADs, which would be something else, and JSIDs or JADs or something like that. Anyway, TAMIS, STAMIS, SARS, all that. They're just telling me I stole that or stole it. And you know what? It must be a godsend that, I was not certified in project management yet. Here's why. It's allowed me to go through everything. Like, these are notes that are mental notes that a person makes themselves when they go through what they go through. And all this stuff I had to download. And so it would take someone, as far as I'm concerned, me being in a loving, caring environment, to talk about what has happened to me. And then what I wanted to do and go forward about what has happened to me, which, in a lot of ways, I don't have the representation to do so. I'm also being cornered by public servants and people who would not ordinarily be involved in wiretapping and intellectual property rights stuff. And so, because this is a list of things that I thought of, and I didn't have the conversation with anybody in the public service, and it was stolen by the Navy, it looks on its face that could be indemnified. And there should be no problem. I should not be going through what I'm going through. And so in some cases with SAP, which was also a military program stolen by people who stole it from me, it doesn't even matter the fact that they're not military. What actually matters is the fact that they stole. This is what was stolen, as well as scripting. LifeLock was stolen. Crystal reports these different types of storage, um, and other things. But all these things I've never had a conversation about, not one time. So like with Watson and with I guess the telephone person, Watson and Alexander, they had many conversations about what went on, and Watson was like gypped out of something when it came to the telephone, even Watson. And also there is a third person that is like unwidely known, and this person, from what I was told, is my great grandfather. He's I think his name should be Robeson, but Brown comes up. Um, and how that happened, maybe he came from a Brown plant, or his, I don't know how that works out. I'm gonna have to go back and tell my stuff myself as much as I can possibly can about them, but I'm gonna have to hurry up because someone's like changing the search strings. Um, and so with, I don't even know his name. My great grandfather, um, I'm gonna have to look into it because I don't even think that's right. Let's just call him Marvin for now. I think it's Willie Marvin. Um, well, something's wrong. I'm gonna have to read through what's there. Anyway, so I think they're the third person. They're saying it's him. They're saying that this man, actually, he wasn't even a slave. He was half Italian and half black from England, is what I was told. And so the people who are familiar with Alexander Graham Bell, Graham Bell is English, and he's the one who came up with. They're saying he's the first person to patent the phone, and this would have happened around 1898 or so. My great grandfather Willie Marvin, it would have to be senior. So let me just go on record saying that would have um, been a postal carrier, and this was when, actually, I'm going to bring up another screen here. You won't see it, but I'm just going to leave what I have up. Postal handlers, and I'm just going to just touch in it on what I'm doing right now. And ox and cart. What year would that? Basically, what year? I'm just going to leave it at that and just go into another video. So 1910 is what I'm seeing. I think it probably goes back further than that. There's 15 million hits on that. So it's not something that is not known. Let me just click on the picture and then maybe something come up. So that's probably what it would look like. He was a handler in Supply, North Carolina, is what I was told. But let's see, I don't get, well, it says listed by dealers and sellers, data creation 1800 to 1899. So maybe perhaps, let me double check. Well, this is before cars, which would have been a long time. The first car came out in 1910, so that date is incorrect. Yeah, let me just go back. Yeah, 1910 was like maybe a little earlier than that. I'm getting 1910. Maybe I'll go back and double check. Anyway, horse and cart for him, and that is relevant to the conversation to the point where maybe I'm just off on that one. Oh, with regards to the fact that there's a third person involved with the planning of the telephone. And then, so anyway, never had a conversation about any of these. People are trying to say with regards to those cases that him being set up because I stole something. This list would be something that they're saying that I stole, which is not. They can actually go back into what they know I thought and read verbatim the words I thought when I thought them. And so now I'm going to have to go back through this and put the dates on any of these that I thought them up. Um, and I'm not trying to let them set me up, and that's just it. And then also that arrest in Delaware County is also something that they're coming with as a setup, or which is known as McCarthyism. So that's the end of the video, and I'm sorry that it's like over the top on as far as time. I will talk to you later, and I'm going to get out what I know about the Brown family to actually, let the world know I know what I know about me, or as much as I can, because Meghan Markle is doing everything that she possibly can to disturb people's lives, and she has caused some problems like Richard Ellis and Frank Papalozzi has done. And I mean, it's not just her, but Harry is along with her. And this is sad because I mean, people should be able to live their lives, and I would not be doing this if they hadn't gone after my grandmother and that center block home that was probably all of the value of $5,000. It was not cheaply made, but it wasn't made out of materials that were very expensive. And then there was drywalls and whatever struts they were and beams in the house. The structural part of the house. I do believe they built that house themselves. Or my grandfather built that house with someone that he knew. And so I'm told that that house was knocked down by Harry Windsor. I don't know who for, but it's gone. Or maybe for Richard Ellis. All right, so I'm out of here.